There's no doubt that as the country has been through its difficult attempt to find agreement on how to exactly finish its transition and bring the country to its first democratic elections, it's also generating competition and tension between the major political parties and more broadly in society. Well, in our view, the country is fortunate enough to have a peace agreement. Not all peacekeeping situations see the existence of a peace agreement in place, particularly as the peace agreement itself sets out mutually agreed benchmarks for the country to reach, which would indicate progress and stabilization. So those have to do with strengthening the institutions, particularly democratic institutions of democracy, and stabilization in the country, including, but not limited to, drafting a new constitution, putting in place a framework for the elections, conducting elections, first free and fair elections. But those are also difficult processes. They also divide people. And what the literature shows is that where people have experienced conflict, they are likely to see a relapse into conflict activated by the competitive processes of elections and constitution making. So it's very important that we approach those political tasks in a manner which strengthens the country, builds, helps the country build an inclusive nation, and prevents further fragmentation. But I think there are particular challenges, unique challenges, which this country faces which others don't. For a start, we've had over 1 million people flow into this country from the war immediately to the north of us in Sudan itself. We have a flood situation which has generated more than 1 million IDPs, people who've had to leave their homes because of the flooding waters. We have a pre-existing situation in which there is food insecurity which affects over 1/3 of the population. In other words, people are struggling for basic foodstuffs to survive. The country is also undergoing a crisis because its principal source of revenue, oil, has been blocked because the pipelines were attacked or sabotaged some time ago and have not been repaired as yet. So it is having to deal with its economic crisis while also enduring a shortage of resources. One of the consequences of that is that no salaries have been paid, either to civil servants or to the military, for sometimes 10 or 11 months. We understand that 1 month's payment has just been made, but it's obviously stress on the population at large if civil servants are not being paid. And of course, we should mention the broader effects of having a war in the north. Apart from just refugees coming through, it's also had a tremendous impact on the cost of food and on inflation. Inflation reaching over close to 300% last year.